Oh yeah,
Oh,
of
no.
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
But we saw some of your earlier interviews. You look pretty drunk. Like 9 years ago. What happened to you between these 9 years?
Yeah,
Did shooting this one film like kill your joy?
yeah, I think was that like when my short film?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was drunk. It's a fact. Yeah. I was like, hi everyone, I made a movie.
Yeah, he was designing.
Hi. So yeah, I mean I'm not drunk now, but I am close. Yeah. And it is a serious film. It didn't kill all my joy.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about this film, though, like the end we start from? I don't know how much I can say without spoiling the film.
Yeah, me too.
So I think it's probably
hard,
better for you to say, and then we know.
Just like a
how
short
much-
introduction.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it. It's a.
Are you able to do it?
I am.
Sure, it took me like 3 years to do it, but I forgot. It's been a while.
It's a film. What? It's a film about a woman who has a baby just as a flood hits London, and it's about her learning to be a mother whilst she's displaced. I know.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's it? He just had a baby.
Yeah,
Like 2 weeks ago,
my
right?
wife just gave birth.
Oh,
yeah, 3 weeks ago.
congratulations!
Oh, thank you.
How? And you're here and awake?
Yeah, actually, that's the thing. In Taiwan, we have this thing called postpartum center.
Yeah.
That where after mothers give birth in the hospital, we stay in the hospital for 2 to 3 days, and then most of the people take their wives to the postpartum center to stay for like
20 to 30 days.
20 to 30 days.
Wow.
And the postpartum center, it's more like a hotel with
Yeah.
nurses that can take care of the mom and the baby at the same time.
That's amazing.
So for
What?
mom, they can actually take a break, have proper sleep, and then they go
That's-
home after 3
That's wild.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I think this is like one of the things that we think our medicine beats
Fortune.
the Western way.
Yeah, because I think that's only popular in Taiwan and China, but I don't think anywhere else in the world is doing this. But I
Yeah.
think this thing should be done everywhere, because I think moms, after giving birth and after carrying the baby for 10 months, they need a proper break,
Yeah.
right? So I think at the postpartum thing, right now, the one that my wife is staying at, they took care of her, cooked like delicious meals
Wow.
3 times a day, and with like afternoon tea and midnight snack.
Yeah.
So it's like
A
just well
midnight
fed.
snack.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of stuff, and there's like massage, spa, everything.
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I feel like I've been like completely kind of given the short end of the straw here. Hold on a minute.
We know that you also had a baby, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 actually.
You got 2.
Yeah.
So what was it like having a baby in the UK?
I mean, not like that. I mean, I think, you get a kind of after you give birth, you're out on your own and figuring it out.
How long did you stay in the hospital?
I mean, it depends. I mean, like I had some issues, so I was there for 5 days.
Okay.
But yeah, I think, around. But normally you can go like
On the day?
not the day. Normally like the day after. It depends. They
2
like
days,
to kind
yeah.
of get you out if you're fine.
Oh. I
And then you're pretty much on your own after.
Yeah, you get like check-ins with a midwife, and they'll come and they'll just see that you're okay.
see. But what do midwives do though? Do they stay the whole day, or do they stay for a week? No?
It's like
like
use
10 minutes.
That's it?
Like, be like, how are you feeling? Are you alright? How's your temperature? I mean, they're amazing. Don't get me wrong. I think
Okay.
midwives
Yeah.
are amazing.
Of course.
But it's the system maybe is less so. I don't know. By the sounds of it, it's less so.
But we have to pay for postpartum center.
It's
They're
really
not-
expensive.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
not cheap.
really?
Yeah, not everyone can afford that.
Alright, in the UK, it's all free.
Oh.
I see.
You don't pay for it. It's like, but that's why.
But how did you know how to take care of the baby when you just gave give birth to
This
the
is it,
baby?
you don't. And I think in some ways it's part of the film. You have no idea, and you're just sort of gathering information as you go, and you're trying to learn, and you never can prepare enough for it.
Yeah.
You probably already know this, even with that.
No, he's still having a good time right now. He's still in the
Yeah, 'cause I
center.
still
That's
can
wait
sleep now.
until he gets
After I go
home.
home, then I will be.
I'll be like, oh my god, this
Yeah.
podcast is gonna be a disaster after he went back to
Just crying.
I haven't been sleeping for 3 days.
So, but when I watch this movie, it's actually quite traumatizing for me, nervous.
Yeah.
My wife just gave birth, right? And the main character Jodie also gave birth in the film.
Yeah.
I was like,
When the
oh my
floods kicked in.
Well,
and
she was not at home when. Well, she gave birth right after she left home, I think.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that part cut was a little
it's
bit.
pretty artsy.
Yeah, very artsy. So I thought she was giving birth in the water. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah.
But thank God she did it in the
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was quite traumatizing for me because I just had a baby. I'm like, oh my god, what if this happens right now?
Yeah.
How am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go?
Yeah.
Right? There's no place to go. So it's just like for me, the whole movie is like, oh my god.
It's a
Because that's it, because you're just at that moment, I suppose, where you're thinking about protection and continuing on life and how to raise a child. No pressure. It'll be fine.
But you guys shot this movie with kids, like babies.
Loads of
the
babies.
moms
Yeah, those are real babies, not VFX.
No, they're real babies. They're all real babies. I mean, like there are a couple of dummies, but we always had a baby on set. But sometimes it would be quick asleep. You know.
Yeah, how did you deal with shooting a film with babies?
Never ever make a film with babies. Never
Period.
do it.
Never
Don't
do it.
But just don't do it. But at the same time, it was amazing because you had these babies who had their own personalities.
Come on.
Yeah.
But they cry. Well, how did you deal
they
with that?
cried, but sometimes that was great because we wanted them to cry, and sometimes you like. Often they cried when we don't want them to cry, and often,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in truth, that's the truth of it. But they're spontaneous, and they don't give a flying fuck what you want. They do exactly what they want, so the actors have to respond to that. And, you know, and that's kind of beautiful. For me, as a director, it's great to have that kind of naturalism that comes from a child. But yeah,
That's a good one.
But
yeah, no, but it is hard because you also. I mean, I don't know if you know. I think it's probably worldwide. You're only allowed a certain amount of hours with children and babies on set. So our times were really, really limited, and we had to get it all done.
So what's the law requires for the baby
I
to
do not remember.
Okay.
All I know is what.
Oh, that's it. She gotta go.
I did know it really well, but now I've sort of blanked out that period. But I think, you know, I'm very thankful because all these parents would let us, you know, have their babies on set. And actually, I don't know, like we have these like hardened grips on our set. Do you know what a grip is? He does like we'll push the dolly or lay the track. You know, all the kind of mechanisms of the engineering side of the camera. And they tend to like that one baby, if I'm honest. But if you have a baby on set, they turn into like these kind of
teddy bear.
they're like dancing, moving around, and the whole atmosphere shifts quite
That
tremendously.
sounds like Ken.
Yeah, it's like you.
Yeah, but how many babies do you have, like real babies do you have on set?
Well, right, at any given time, there's probably like one, and then we swap them out. Bring me a baby.
Another baby will come. So total you have like probably 3 or 4 spare babies.
That's what we want.
Just in case, right? Just in case you need to
Not on.
give them a break.
No, but we just timed it. It was had to be quite kind of timed, so there was a baby shift, so that they could. And actually, it was quite intuitive because you had to be quite organic with the sleeping, arms, and feeding. So it's quite the ADs, our assistant directors, would work out a schedule based on these babies, you know, habits, and also the time we were allowed on set. Okay, it was quite a puzzle.
It's like a postpartum center on set.
The mom was probably pretty happy, right? Yeah, I think the mom was probably pretty happy because you guys are taking care of the baby instead of her.
Yeah, well, actually, because Jodie was quite nervous when we did in rehearsal.
Jodie
Yes,
is
the
a
main
leading baby. She's still isn't.
No.
Okay.
And it was quite a new thing. So
I would be really nervous.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
and it's somebody else's baby.
Someone
right?
else.
know.
What if like you
Something
like bump her back or something? Just like don't want anything to happen, right?
Exactly. So she'd be like shaking. She was shaking. But this mum had her mum had. Yeah, and she'd had other kids before as well, so she was just like, here, take my baby. Like a lot of love, but you know.
Yeah.
And
I got two. This is just one of them.
Holding them, yeah. She was really comfortable with it, but Jodie had to like learn. In the end, I've said this before, but she got too comfortable with it, and she would just rock the baby to sleep, even when I wanted the baby wide awake. So I was just like slowly watching the baby's eyes fall in front of my eyes. No, stop it, stop moving. And do you have the jiggle?
Yeah.
So when you don't hold your baby, do you just sort of move from side to side?
Yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah, you can spot a kind of new parent or a parent of someone under one because they're just like moving from side to side. It's almost traumatic, trauma release, isn't it? You're just like rocking yourself to sleep the whole time. Yeah.
Oh my god! But we saw that this is your first movie, right? Big movie, because before
Feature
this
film.
feature film, before you mostly shoot indie.
I had never made a full-length film before, so I had made short films, but I hadn't made. I'd made television, and I'd been lucky in that the television dramas that I'd made had always been. I'd been able to do the whole series, or which was a kind of meant that I could keep the creative, which was brilliant. But this was my first film. This is what I always wanted to do. So yeah, it was like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but how did you get the opportunity to make this film?
Yeah.
How did you?
Yeah, because the producer is
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Doctor Strange.
You know, Benedict. I'd read the novel a while ago, I think after my first child, and then a writer called Alice Birch had written a draft of the script quite a few years later, and the BBC and who helped produce the film, Sunny March, which is Benedict's company, asked me to read it, and we talked about it, and then then I was able to make it, and we ended up developing the script further with Alice and going for it.
I feel like this movie was originally, just by look of it, I feel it's really hard to shoot as a movie because there's so much internal emotions, right?
Yeah.
How do you try to bring that out on the film?
I think a lot of it it's about cinematography as well, and about how you sort of speak about the internal externally. So I'm going to get quite conceptual here. Sorry.
I'll try to focus.
I suppose I tried to tell it in a way that felt like that there's a story is about really a big disaster, but told pretty intimately, and focused quite heavily on performance, and Jodie Comer gives a brilliant performance. But then when we kind of do expand into the world, it still feels like we're talking about something internal as opposed to external quite a lot of the time. But I work a storyboard, and I play around with ideas and find loads of images, and all kind of ends up becoming part of the kind of landscape of what I'm working with.
How did you deal with the pressure and anxiety? Because this is your first feature film. I'm sure.
I mean, actually, I struggled at the beginning. I think in prep, it was a really hard film to make because independent film is really difficult. It's really hard to get the money to make it. And
The budget doesn't seem really high.
No,
it's only £9 million, right?
Yeah, which seems like
9 million.
Yeah, which sounds like a lot, but for this, it really was.
It's a flawed film, isn't it?
I know.
It's a flawed film with only £9 million.
With babies in every scene, and we're kind of constantly moving. It's like a road trip a bit as well. So it was tight, and prep was difficult because we had this big ambition, but with only a little bit of money, and trying to kind of get it to work. And I struggled. I did get massive. I've never had anxiety before, and I've always been quite like, oh, okay, that's quite organic. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, like the short film interview. Happy.
But even on the TV stuff, it was different because I think this is something that I always, like since the age of 10, had wanted to do, and I did feel this huge amount of internal pressure, and I didn't expect it. I think sometimes you go to things and you're like, I know I'm going to feel a lot here, and I'm ready. I honestly thought I'd be fine, and so the pressure was huge, and it really affected me. And I was quite lucky because I had a really good producer. Sunny March were amazing, and they actually kept me sane through it.
You're pretty experienced. They expected that.
Yeah. So maybe I actually should ask them.
You're not gonna be fine. We're gonna take care of you.
I can see it's about to happen. But in the end, it kind of, as soon as we actually started shooting, I felt in my element again. But it was the prep that I sort of shocked me, because not all the puzzle pieces weren't fitting together. And, you know, like usually they fit together. And I'm like, great, we sorted that problem out, and it was all looking like this jaggedy. And then we kind of, by the time we got to shoot, it all clicked in.
What was the most difficult part though when you were planning this out? Which part was the part that got you stuck the most?
I mean, I think because of the budget, we were quite limited with our like locations and things where we could work, but the story had to feel like it was moving through the landscape. So what was evident is we weren't going to have a great deal of time to shoot, so everything had to be done quite rapidly. And the kind of the dawning nature of saying, all right, you're going to have to do all these scenes in one day, which are quite big scenes, and you're going to have to move location within the same day. That was when you're like, when I was like, oh, actually, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. So I had my own self-doubt at that point. But creatively, I've always felt it, so that wasn't a problem. It was more the practical. I've never had, because I'm on TV.
It's logistics.
Logistics, yeah. And on television, it's always logistical, because it's a similar sort of thing. I think because the money is there to achieve it, you know, it's easier. Whereas with this, there was the money, we had to be quite inventive.
And do you need to mindful of the money that you guys spend, or that's the job of the producer?
It's the job of the producer, but I felt, and maybe I shouldn't have done, because it probably wasn't my job to worry as much as I did. But I felt very responsible for that as well.
Because you're in the experience that made you think for this?
I think it was that like a lot of what we needed to do is problem solving. So, you know, like how can we make it look like the house is flooding without making the house floods, you know, things like that. And so that's good, because that's creative, but sometimes it was like challenging, you know.
Because with only £9 million, I don't think it's allowed to make a big movie like this. I think even YouTuber Mr. Beast spent more money on his YouTube YouTube video. No, this is not a joke though. He really spent a lot of money on
For
his
10
YouTube
minutes.
video.
Really?
For 10 minutes. Yeah, for 10-20 minutes. Well, he got a lot of money.
Can I ask him to finance my next film?
You could ask, you could try
Yeah,
to do
Mr.
that.
Beast is crazy. Yeah.
But since you mentioned that you wanted to be a director since you were 10,
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of environment that made you want to be a director? And did adults try to warn you not to?
No, not really. I was quite lucky because I had quite creative parents. So it wasn't like it. But I think, I mean, like 10, I don't know. It's all a blur, isn't it? Like, when did it actually happen? But I was quite into drama. And you know, one of the things, I was really into drama, and I had a band. This wasn't 10 actually, this was a bit later.
Oh, okay, I was like, wow,
So
10.
wow,
This is
10.
pretty
No,
talented.
14 I had a band. And we had a big gig up on
That's really
stage.
cool.
800 people.
Wow.
Dang.
I know, me up front, I had like all this kind of like weird Tool dressy thing on, and
What instrument did you play?
I sang
Wow, you're the vocalist.
and played bass really badly. And then yeah, and so I get up on stage and about to start, and I forget every word, and I froze. And it, honestly, it changed a lot for me. That moment, I was like, there is absolutely no way I can go in front of a camera or in front of, on stage. Really, I don't. It's not a happy place for me. And that feeling is like it's not for me. But what I do love, and I always loved photography, and I always loved acting and working with actors. And so I realised, okay, this is maybe what I'm meant to be doing. But that's there's no. Everyone wants like an origin story for their craft. I don't know, how did you guys do this? I don't.
I mean, I loved talking when I was young, and I was punished by talking too much in class.
It was the same for me, but it's more like in 2014 there was a big event that happened in Taiwan. It's called the Sunflower Movement. It's when Taiwan,
Like a student movement.
yeah, it was when the government was trying to sign some kind of cooperation agreement with China, but it's more in favor of China, so a lot of people in Taiwan stood up and say, hey, maybe we need to reconsider the consider this. And we met during that time, and we feel like, okay, maybe we should do something. We started talking about international news.
Yeah. Oh wow.
That's it, and just like sharing Taiwan's point of view, on issues that we should care about. And then it eventually became a podcast, and then we started to do this kind of, also talk to interesting people, put people on the show. I don't know.
It's fun. It's fun. I mean,
yeah, we don't really have like a
plan or like a dream come true. No, it wasn't like that. We just kind of like do whatever we feel like we want to do at the moment.
Yeah.
No plan.
And just
Organically.
Yeah.
Organically.
Yeah.
And now we get to meet you. So cool.
Thank you.
So, so you're on the promotional trip. Is that how it's called? Press
so
trip.
right now
I
it's
mean, it's not really. I mean, I suppose it is, but it's more that I'm going to the festivals and seeing the film, meeting the audiences, and seeing that more than I'm doing a bit of press as a result of that. But, yeah.
So do you plan to go to any other countries in Asia?
No.
So
Not like
I would
Japan,
love to.
Korea.
Invite me to your festival. No, I mean no, this is it. I've just come in for the Golden Horse and saw the film yesterday with the audience. Well, the audience watched it. And
Yeah, I saw the interview and the press.
it was nice. And then and then I'm off again tomorrow. I just come back from LA, and before that was Rome, and before that was Toronto.
That's a crazy schedule.
It's lovely though. I'm getting to travel. How amazing is that? How lucky am I? I'm really tired.
You gotta say all the nice things. And I'm so tired.
I am so tired.
I am so
How
tired.
can you handle that?
But I get to eat such good food.
But you're so tired.
I am so tired.
Can you remember the food that you eat though?
I had stinky tofu last night. What's it called really? Is it actually called stinky tofu?
Yeah, it is.
It is called stinky tofu.
Because it seems a bit rude.
No,
but it is
right.
right.
We are
it is
really
literally
proud.
Yeah.
Chou tofu, stinky tofu.
A stinky
in many-
tofu. Okay.
Yeah.
It stinks, but it tastes good.
But stinks.
It does stink. And I feel like if you closed your nose and ate it, it would be a whole different experience.
I never tried that.
Okay, maybe next time. We'll do
It's
it
okay if you say it tastes like shit.
I
then
did like it. I liked it with the cabbage.
So
and
did
I-
you go to any other place?
We had yesterday I managed to go to a couple of temples and wandered around a bit, and it was really good. I loved it actually.
Do you remember which temple you went? It's okay if you don't.
It was not. This is not indicative of anything. But it was the fertility. Well, what's that called? That one. It was so beautiful.
Fertility, like for babies?
Yeah, I think so. People come there for that. That's what I got told. Might be
Oh my god, I don't know. I don't know.
No, but it was really beautiful. It had, lots of carving, old, beautiful temple. And then went to the one with Justice. This is how I remember it, so I'm sorry. The one,
行天宫吗？
I think
天
so.
宫跟我觉得龙山寺
应该是行天宫，因为行天宫里面应该有什么
住
祝生娘娘什么之类的。
每个都有祝生娘娘。
Oh, then. Okay, we don't know
Sorry,
anything about our culture.
I don't know if I'm explaining it properly. I don't know.
It's okay.
And I used the moons. It was great. It was really beautiful. And loved it. And ate tofu pudding. So yeah, I had a really nice day.
So what's your next stop after this?
London. I
Back to London.
need to get back home. And
Because you have 2 kids, right?
I do, yeah.
And who's taking care of the kids when you're away?
Normally my partner, he does, but
Nice.
he's shooting. He's a cinematographer, so he's shooting. So his mum's. But he's putting them to bed at night. But normally we take turns. When he shoots, I'm at home, and when I shoot, he's at home.
So do you need to like constantly schedule the whole thing and make sure the kids have someone to...
Yeah, normally, we have to. But we're finding other ways at the moment because it's just not practical. And also, you can only earn one wage, which is slightly problematic. You need to sometimes both be working.
Yeah.
But are you planning on getting other projects from the US, or you are mainly focused on UK projects right now?
I think it depends what the project is, and I've been very lucky in that. For a while, I've been sent quite a lot of beautiful, brilliant stories and books and scripts from different places, but up kind of what I feel. But it's interesting. It's interesting seeing these different stories kind of come into my inbox. But but also I need to build. I like developing things as well, so that is sort of a part of it.
Like screenwriting.
I do write, but I prefer writing with people, and I think they're better writers than me. So that's the truth, and so I like developing so that I can know how I'm telling it. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you get started from the process. So as they're writing it, you're writing it. You can put in the director's view.
Yeah,
into
or
it.
just ideas, or just a conversation. It's a dialogue, and I've been quite lucky to work with really good writers who are quite collaborative. And I think when you're all creatively on the same mission.
So how old are your kids right now?
3 and 8.
3 and 8. And do they start to talk about what they want to be in the future?
No, I've asked them, and my oldest just goes,
No director, no artist.
no, like he's like, at the moment I think he wants to be a footballer.
Ah.
Soccer. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. But I think that's quite a common thing for his age group at the moment. I don't know. I think
If they tell you they want to be a director, would that be okay?
I'd be like, cool, okay.
Is that okay?
You love me. I'll take it. No, but I don't think so. I think he might be more interested. Maybe I could see he's quite bossy. I think he'd be quite good at,
being a director?
Yeah.
Are you bossy? You don't seem like it, or
No, but you have to know what you want.
like
ways
you
of
think
getting
about
it.
it?
No, actually doesn't really work like that. But I wish it was. Sometimes it'd be easy just to be, I want this now, and you get what you want. It doesn't function.
Is that how Benedict Cumberbatch is?
Oh yeah, no. No, not at all. Not at all. I was quite lucky with him because Benedict was amazing. He cared about this project a great deal because they'd been working on it for a while. So when he came, it was like, I'm here for you, and the phone, here I am,
Oh, wow.
which is, it's kind of amazing for me as first-time filmmaker to have that kind of support. It's just in it for the craft, I think. Yeah.
But is it hard for you as a first-time feature-length director to work with such big stars like Judy Comer and Catherine Waterston and Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, I think it made it really, easier in a way because I think when I'm casting as well, you make sure that you're working with people who are on the same page as you, and also who, if an actor like that is going to make this small project, they're not doing it to, for anything, for ego reasons. They're doing it because they care about it and for the craft of it. So I was quite lucky in that they cared, and so when they came on board, they were up for it, and wanted to explore those characters in depth and get into it. Just a really good way of it was really good for me to be able to work with them and get better at what I do and help them do better work. It was kind of like, wow, I can work with this caliber of actor. It's amazing.
Do you start thinking about what will be your next film?
Yes and no. Not enough to talk about, but yeah. I think I want to make something at the moment because, I've been in this world for so long. I want to make something happier. I love listening to the people laughing in the cinema, the moments of humour in this, and they do